Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Linda Dick, and I'm one of the many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 117, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either a donation or by volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And I'll be reading the Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, May 27th, 2022. And on the front page is a leaping high for Ukrainian relief. The Shevchenko Dance Ensemble performed traditional Ukrainian dances for the Neepawa Middle School and attendees of the Neepawa Middle School barbecue at the Yellowhead Center on May 20th. The event was put on by the students to raise money for Ukrainians being affected by the war in Ukraine. The Neepawa Middle School has been working hard to raise money to support the victims of the war in Ukraine. Most recently, they held a fundraising barbecue at the Yellowhead Center. Not only did they sell hot dogs, but they also had raffles and Ukrainian items for sale, as well as distributing the pierogies they sold during a previous fundraiser. At the event, the Shevchenko Dance Ensemble performed several different traditional Ukrainian dances from the various areas of the country. Neepawa's water capacity gets a major expansion by Owen Devereaux. The town of Neepawa has completed a significant upgrade to its water infrastructure. Over the Victoria Day long weekend, municipal workers installed and expanded the connections at the Neepawa's water reservoir. This type of work did require a brief boil water advisory to be put in place as a precautionary measure. The advisory was lifted on May 22nd, however, and there was no reported issues related to it. Manager of Operations, Denise Saquette, noticed that these improvements will dramatically increase Neepawa's available potable drinking water capacity, rising from 1 million liters at any given time up to 4 million liters. Saquette said, considering the amount of new development and growth Neepawa has been experiencing over the past few years, those upgrades will have a monumental impact on the community's future. This allows us to have improved reservoir storage. So, as the community continues to grow, we'll have the capacity to handle the usage without any concern. Not the Time to Get Complacent Yet, by Kira Patterson. It appears Minnedosa has seen the worst of the flooding this spring, at least as of Tuesday, May 24th. Minnedosa CAO Jim Doppler stated that while the flow of the river is still at a high rate, the water levels have begun to decrease. Currently, they have no concerns for the structure of the dam. Doppler noted that the logs that had been removed from the dam, which totaled 13 single logs and 4 double logs, are not being replaced as of yet. He explained that the Minnedosa Lake is still at a higher level than normal and if they put the logs back in with the high flow the river is currently seeing, it would raise the lake levels too quickly. On Friday, May 20th, signs of improved conditions were already showing, with Minnedosa Lake and river levels dropping. Volunteer requirements were suspended on Friday after having spent over a week sandbagging within the community. The town is still asking, however, that residents moderate their water consumption as much as possible to reduce the possibility of sewage backup. Currently, Doppler noted that the town continues to monitor water levels and maintain dikes and pumps as the ground is still very saturated. They are also continuing to keep an eye on the forecast so as to be ready for future precipitation that could raise the river and lake again. It's not the time to get complacent yet, he stated. The town has also started planning for recovery and restoration from the flood. Town officials met with Manitoba Transport and Infrastructure on Tuesday morning, so Doppler said they have an idea of when they might be able to start winding down their flood mitigation efforts, but nothing is confirmed just yet. The town didn't have any confirmed numbers on just how many properties became flooded, but Doppler estimated around 30 buildings were affected. He added that there are still residents reporting that they are getting water in their basements, just from how saturated the ground is. During this year's efforts to fight the flood, Doppler shared that approximately 130,000 sandbags were deployed. 1,800 super sandbags were used, and 2,400 feet of tiger dams were deployed. I couldn't tell you how many volunteers we had, other than there were lots, he added. Volunteers helped with everything, from sandbagging to moving equipment to monitoring pumps to feeding the other volunteers and workers. Doppler expressed that a lot of people came together and worked hard to combat the spring conditions. Neepawa and District Fine Arts Festival sponsors school band workshops submitted by the Neepawa Band Program. The Neepawa Band Program, under the direction of Mr. John Hodge and Ms. Caitlin McDermott, welcomed Bill Christensen into their programs on Wednesday, May 4th. Mr. Christensen, a highly respected band director from Winnipeg, spent the morning working with the ensembles at Neepawa Collegiate. In a band room packed full with students, Christensen spent 1 hour working with the concert band on several pieces that they would go on to perform at their concert on May 5th. Students focused on breathing, tuning, dynamics, as well as fine-tuning other features of their music. For the next hour of the morning, Christensen worked with the NACI Jazz Band. Students worked on ensemble balance, dynamics, phrasing, and Christensen made helpful suggestions to the rhythm section. The afternoon welcomed Christensen to Neepawa Middle School, where he worked with the grade 7 and 8 bands. Grade 7 students worked on adding emotions to their music to create a greater sense of storytelling, while grade 8 students worked on maintaining steady tempos and matching articulations. Students thoroughly enjoyed learning from Mr. Christensen, and many commented on how the hour had flown by and they wished it could have been longer. The Neepawa Band Program thanks the Neepawa and District Fine Arts Festival for paying for the clinician. The students had fun and they learned a lot. The Neepawa District Fine Arts Committee is looking forward to hosting an in-person festival in 2023. As in years past, Festival 2023 will include band and choir workshops, along with piano, choral, and speech performers. Our museum feature is Park Lake. With all the work going on at Park Lake lately, it felt like a pertinent time to share this photo of the area from back when it still had the trestle bridge for the railway. There was no specified date, but the photo was featured on the front of an old postcard. And on May 27th and 28th, the Roxy Theatre will be showing Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Showtime, 7:30 p.m. Right in the Center by Ken Waddell. Do rules always make sense? Sometimes rules make sense, and sometimes they need to be questioned. I was recently told that new resident care homes have to be isolated in their rooms for 10 days upon arrival at the care home. I asked Manitoba Shared Health if that was correct, and if so, what was the reasoning for it? A Shared Health spokesperson got back to me with the following answer. Manitoba's guidance is regularly reviewed and updated to balance the need to mitigate the risk of COVID-19 spread among vulnerable populations, with the ability for residents to maintain important in-person connections with loved ones. Current guidance includes a 10-day isolation period for any person newly admitted or readmitted, including following a period of more than 24 hours in hospital, to a personal care home who has not had COVID-19 in the past 180 days. Residents that have not had COVID-19 in the past 180 days will be screened and tested between days 5 and 7 of their 10-day isolation period. Other measures in place to mitigate spread of the virus in long-term care facilities, such as personal care homes, include ongoing screening of staff and visitors, the use of appropriate personnel protective equipment by healthcare workers, designated caregivers, and general visitors, enhanced cleaning and disinfecting practices, other protocols which may vary based on the level of COVID-19 activity in the community and the outbreak status of a unit or personal care home. Health regions do work with individual residents and families to minimize as much as possible the impacts of the 10-day isolation period. It is important to note that while a resident is required to isolate, they are able to continue having designated family caregivers visit them, provided appropriate personnel protective equipment is worn. I have also found out from firsthand family reports that a 10-day isolation means no contact with other residents, meals by themselves in their rooms, and in some cases, very restricted access by family members. This may be a case where the rules don't make sense. I know Manitoba Health is trying their best, but is this isolation process going to achieve the desired results? I question that. While isolating the residents from each other may curb the spread between residents, what about the possibility of the staff spreading the infection? The staff are in contact with a number of residents. They are out in the community, in contact with their families and friends. Why are the staff somehow less a source of possible infection to residents than residents are to each other? Considering the respective risk, the damage that isolation does, and the extra staffing time and costs, I question the need and net effectiveness of this rule. To look at an entirely different scenario, the construction industry. Consider this. Lumber is expensive, and there are lots and tons of used lumber available. Most of it heads to the burning pile or the landfill. Many people who are environmentally aware and cost conscious would like to be able to utilize recycled lumber. Trouble is that most planning districts and construction rules don't allow the use of recycled or used materials. Worse than that, if you buy an old house to relocate, you may have to take out reasonably good windows, doors, and siding to meet codes. While construction is very different from healthcare, it does seem strange that both industries are hampered by rules that don't make sense. Our problem is that the rule makers aren't all that practical. They set up a set of rules and cling to them even when they don't make sense. That's a real problem in Canada, and it seems especially in Manitoba. There are likely many other similar situations. I would welcome your input. Email me examples of questionable rules to kwaddell@neepawabanner.com. And Ken's disclaimer is, the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the Banner and press staff. And by Rita Friesen, Homebodies, Counting My Blessings. 'Twas an old, old hymn that filled my mind as I strode through the towering oak and elm trees. Count your blessings. Uninvited, the song hit the top 10, playing and replaying as I slowed my pace, breathed deeply, and looked around. Really looked around. Much of my walking of late has been keeping up a pace, reaching a goal, competing with myself for distance walked. Well, perhaps aware of who else is marking off kilometers in this month of May. As I slowed my rhythm to the rhythm of the hymn, I counted my many blessings. Some blessings are health-related. Way back in 2002, I was diagnosed with a brain aneurysm. Because we found it before it found me, the surgery was elective. And from the early May discovery, I waited until September 3rd for the surgery. I waited while continuing to live fully. A friend and I flew as scheduled to Great Britain, comforted with my doctor's words, "Go. If it blows, they have good doctors there too." We went. It didn't blow, and I enjoyed the holiday. After a fairly lengthy time in surgery, I was awake and hungry and needing the washroom before supper. From surgery on a Monday, I was having coffee at the Chicken Corral Friday morning. I was younger then. A blessing, a gift, a wonder. The other health blessing occurred a few years later. Standing watching a Lily Festival parade, I felt a weird sensation in my hip, my back. Somewhere, something was going very wrong. My sciatica, once damaged by a misplaced surgical needle, reared back and struck with a vengeance. I feared I would never be able to walk again, never mind stride about my kingdom. My doctor, the same one that offered the comforting words years earlier, promised that if I followed instructions, I would be well. Follow I did. Deep tissue massage by a local expert and rest with required stretches, I slowly recovered. They told me I could walk to the end of the garden at the acreage and then return to the house. That was ridiculous, but doable. Caution never to walk further than I could safely, comfortably walk back to the house. It felt like baby steps. Now I walk with confidence, still listening for that sciatica to do much as whisper before I resume the exercises. Not just my health is a blessing, the people in my life, those whom I love and love me, rate so very highly. I was blessed to be married to a good, gentle man of integrity for 40 years and 1 day. After several years of the single life, I have found and been found by a good, gentle man on integrity. Almost 5 years of togetherness is a blessing. My children and 5 grandchildren, and now great-grandchildren, enrich my days and stretch my growth and loving. My partner's family are an added blessing, also stretching my growth and loving. Count your blessings. The days flow smoother, quieter, when I focus on the many gifts the Creator, the Divine, the God Almighty has so freely granted to me. And by Kyra Kasprick of the Neepawa Collegiate Hope Group, spring into action with the Neepawa Area Collegiate Hope Group by participating in the Spring Food Drive. In partnership with the Neepawa Rotary Club, the NACI Hope Group is working to help collect food for the Neepawa Salvation Army. The Salvation Army has been working hard to meet the needs of our community, and it is in need of our help. The Hope Group has organized a food drive to help with their ongoing need for food donations. On Wednesday and Thursday, May 25th and 26th, Hope members were dropping off bags at your front door, starting at 4 p.m. We ask that you fill the bag or donate anything you can, being mindful of expiry dates on the food items. Some suggested items that can be donated include canned fish, meats, canned vegetables, school snacks, ready-to-eat meals, baking goods, side dish items, etc. Hope members will be coming to pick up filled bags from your doorstep on Monday, May 30th. Please put your filled bags out by 4 o'clock p.m. on May 30th, and make sure to place your bag in a visible location, as students will not be knocking on any doors. If your house happens to be missed during pickup times, please call the Salvation Army at 204-476-5869. Or please take your bag to the Salvation Army. All of the food collected will be donated to the Salvation Army, and the plastic bags will be reused to limit plastic waste. Spring into action and join us in trying to help our local Salvation Army meet the needs of our community. And now reading the Spruce Plains RCMP report by Corporal Jacob Stanton. During the week of May 16th to May 22nd, Spruce Plains RCMP dealt with 47 police activities. On May 16th, RCMP received a report of cows on the road in the municipality of Glenella, Lansdowne. Police made patrols, but they were not located. Police responded to a report of a firearm being pointed in Bethany. The matter is still under investigation. RCMP responded to a report of fraud in Minnedosa on May 17th. The matter is still being investigated. Police were flagged down in Neepawa to assist with a youth in medical distress. Police and EMS attended and the youth was treated. On May 18th, RCMP responded to a report of a missing person in Rapid City. Police were able to make contact with the person and discovered they had car trouble and was without their phone for a few hours. There was no further cause for concern. Police were dispatched to a vehicle fire in Rapid City. Police attended the scene where Rapid City Fire had already extinguished the fire. There was minimal damage to the vehicle and it was still drivable. On May 19th, RCMP were dispatched to a motor vehicle collision in Neepawa, where a light standard had been hit and knocked over. The driver passed an alcohol screening test, but was transported to the hospital as they appeared to be in medical distress. Police received a report of possible fraud in Clan William. The matter is still being investigated. Police received a report of a hit and run to a vehicle in Neepawa on May 20th. There was insufficient evidence to proceed further. Police responded to a report of an abandoned vehicle near Arden. Patrols were made, but the vehicle could not be located. On May 21st, RCMP conducted various proactive traffic enforcement, engaging with several motorists. RCMP responded to a request for assistance in Minnedosa, where a tree had fallen on a house on May 22nd. Police attended and learned there was no injuries, no damaged power lines, and no fire concerns. Police received a report of a sexual assault in Neepawa. The matter is still under investigation. RCMP conducted 14 traffic enforcement actions during this reporting period. And Out of Helen's Kitchen by Helen Drysdale, a steam locomotive. As the prairies were being settled, there was a wave of railroad construction. This was the easiest way to cross the rugged prairie with its extreme weather conditions. With the railroads came new towns and railway stations to accommodate people and goods being transported. In old In old pictures of railway stations, you see the water towers close by with its metal gooseneck spout hanging. The water towers were a necessity as the locomotives were run by steam, hence the need for water. The steam was produced by burning coal to heat the water in the locomotive's boiler. A reliable supply of water was an important factor when the train companies decided which settlements got a siding. Sidings were small train stations. During the very early days of steam locomotives, sidings for water stops were necessary every 10 miles, or 16 kilometers, adding hours to the travel time. Then came the tender, which was a special rail car hauled behind the locomotive containing coal and water. Steam locomotives consumed large amounts of water compared to the amount of coal. 2 water stops to every coal stop. So the tenders kept them running for longer distance. With the tenders, train could run 100 to 150 miles without a stop to refill. The Royal Hudson tender had a capacity of 12,000 gallons, or 54,600 liters of water. The Royal in the train's name came from the 1939 visit to Canada from King George VI and his wife, Queen Elizabeth. The Hudson locomotive performed flawlessly and impressed the King. The CPR received permission to designate the streamlined Hudson to Royal Hudson. Eventually, each locomotive was equipped with a crown fastened to their running boards. Many Canadian railroads used exterior wood octagonal towers that enclosed a metal or a cedar tank held together with metal bands. This octagonal-shaped water tank was designed specifically because the shape helped them not freeze. The structures were not insulated, and heat was provided by a coal-burning stove inside, under the water tank. This was a spot for many hobos to gather in the winter to warm up. In busier locations, freezing didn't happen because locomotives used the water in the tanks so fast it did not have a chance to freeze. Water towers were elevated for a gravity feed system, allowing the train's water tank to be filled quickly with little effort by the locomotive's firemen. The water tower's operation was simple. The locomotive stopped next to the tower with the spout lining up with the water hatch on top of the truck. The fireman climbed up on the tender and pulled the spout into the tender's hatch. He then pulled on a discharge cord, allowing the water to flow. Most tanks on branch lines held 20,000 gallons of water, and on main lines, 40,000 gallons of water. Prairie water was typically very hard and caused scaling in the boilers, reducing its efficiency. To fight the scale, chemicals were added to reduce buildup. On the prairies, during major winter storms, the trains would occasionally get stuck in the snow. If they ran out of water, they shoveled in snow. If their downtime was a lengthy one, the engine fire had to be put out and the water drained to prevent damage from freezing. This did not happen often, but it did happen in blizzards. It took several hours to fire up a steam engine before it could be run. But once running, it could run at over 100 miles an hour or 160 kilometers an hour. In the late 1950s, the advent of diesel-powered locomotives, whose engine could start running in less than a minute, was the demise of the steam locomotives and water towers. There are still a few towers in railway museums across the prairies, standing at a monument of a past era. I read that the steam locomotive firemen cooked stews and soups in a pot on the firebox. This mushroom soup recipe is probably much fancier than the ones they would have made. Dare I say, it is so much better than a can of store-bought soup. And in this edition of the paper, you can tune in to Helen's homemade mushroom soup and get the recipe. Burnie is to celebrate 100th birthday of Memorial Gate. This is submitted by Casper Wareham. The community of Burnie will be hosting a special celebration on July 16th. That Saturday, a commemorative ceremony will be held in remembrance of the unveiling for the memorable park gates. Memorial Park gates. Norma Summers, associated with the organizing committee made up by the Burnie Community Club and additional volunteers, told the Banner and Press that some of the details are still being ironed out. However, the ceremony itself is scheduled to take place at the gates themselves for 2:00 p.m. We'll follow that with a community gathering and a picnic, said Summers, so we're asking everyone to attend and to bring their own picnic supper and chairs. Community picnics are something Summers said Burnie used to hold quite regularly, but haven't had for the past 15 to 20 years. As such, an effort is being made to put together some games and races for kids to enjoy, just as she and others have in the past. The concession booth will also be cleaned out and opened with simple items such as drinks and hot dogs available for sale. We've already contacted some former community members too, but we're hoping that anyone who sees this article will spread the word to friends and family so people can come back here for a bit of a reunion. Meet the new families and enjoy remembering all the things we used to do in the community, Summers enthused. In addition to the ceremony, picnic and games, a call for memorabilia is also being put out. Anyone with memorabilia related to Burnie history, whether it be a photograph, newspaper, baseball glove, or sweater, they are invited to bring it with them to have it displayed in the community center. The items displayed will make up a temporary museum, with all items being returned to their owners. Individuals can also submit items early by contacting Janet Osmond or Janet O'Donnell via phone at 204-922-2013 and 204-210-2100, respectively. The Memorial Park gates were originally unveiled on Sunday, April 30th, 1922, with 700 people attending. The gate was built in commemoration of those who served in World War I, which spanned from 1914 to 1918. The gate has been decorated for the ceremony, with the archway decorated with Union Jack bunting and the flags of the Allies. As well, a large Canadian ensign hung down from the center of the gate. After some speeches by Reverend T.F. Heaney and Brigadier General Dyer, A.E. Cervantes, and W. Gilmore uncovered the monument, revealing the white marble tablets on which the names of both those who served and who perished were writ in gold lettering. The pillars were promptly wrapped in a mass of flowers, including wreaths and houseplants. The gate's purpose expanded with plaques for both World War II and Korean War, which being added in approximately 1953. And submitted by Kira Patterson, a new petting farm is opening soon near McCreary. There will soon be a new, adorable attraction open to the public just north of McCreary. Debbie and Reg Johnson have a small animal hobby farm that they've decided to share with the world. The grand opening of the new petting farm, Mini Acres Ranch, will take place on Saturday, June 4th, at their farm on Road 124 North, about 4 miles north of McCreary and just west of Highway 5. We love to have people come and see the animals. They're like pets to us, expressed Debbie. We have a wide variety of animals, but our biggest draw is our mini cows. Johnson explained that in addition to the mini cows, they have baby doll sheep, pygmy goats, llamas, horses, pot-bellied pigs, ducks, chickens, and more. We started with the horses, and it's ballooned from there, she explained. The Johnsons have had their small farm since 2007. They had been living off-site for most of those years, but recently they renovated the house that was on the property and have now been living on the farm for about 2 years. Right now, they're surrounded by a lot of baby animals. They started calving in April, their sheep have had lambs, and they're currently expecting a baby llama soon. There will be lots of adorable critters to see when the grand opening takes place. Johnson stated that they're not in it to make money. They make a little bit from selling calves, eggs, and wool from their sheep, and will bring in some money from the price of admission while the petting farm is open over the summer, but not enough to cover the cost of keeping the animals. We're just doing it for fun. This is our retirement, she said. I just love showing people my animals. And looking back, in 70 years, Thursday, May 29th, 1952, the town council at the regular meeting Monday night decided that the town will assume the extra $500 requested by the IOOF for maintenance for the restroom here. Frank Burroughs Ralph, 71, a former merchant and resident of Neepawa for many years, died Friday at the home of his daughter, Mrs. C.A. Spencer. Ralph was born in Truro Ridge, Ontario, and came to Manitoba 69 years later. He received his education in Neepawa. He was employed for many years in the store of the late J.A. Clare, and when the business was sold, he was employed in the A.F. Higgins store. He later operated his own store here. He retired in 1935 and moved to Winnipeg. 60 years ago, Friday, May 25th, 1962, a Neepawa landmark disappeared in flames Monday when the infamous, noted for dispensing illicit spirits, it was off bounds to Air Force personnel during World War II, achieving a sort of notoriety. Okay, so the illicit mud hut east of the salt plant on Elizabeth Street succumbed to what was believed to have been some careless children. Unoccupied for the past year or more, its loss was welcomed by many. It had served a useful purpose recently, however, as a practice site for volunteer firemen as they learned the art of fighting fires. The last practice was different. Firemen concentrated on preventing the spread of the fire, which has already established a sufficient hold on the earth-chinked log building that it was not considered worth saving. And 20 years ago, Monday, May 27, 2002, Neepawa doctors are threatening to join their provincial counterparts in withdrawing emergency room services if the province doesn't reinstate binding arbitration. And the Youth Beef Roundup returns to Neepawa for 2022. Submitted by Casper Wareham, the Manitoba Youth Beef Roundup is returning for 2022. Announced via letter recently, the 2022 edition will be held in person in Neepawa from July 30th to August 1st with a variety of competitions planned. These competitions include team grooming, individual and team judging, showmanship, marketing, sales talk, impromptu speeches, art, photography, scrapbooking, and cattle classes. This marks the 15th annual year and 13 years of having a live event. This marker would have initially been met in 2020. However, due to COVID-19, the event was adjusted to be a photography workshop, with all participants receiving an award. 2 scholarships were also given out that year. Then in 2021, it was staged virtually. The Manitoba Youth Beef Roundup is an event organized by representatives for various breeds of cattle with the goal of preparing young entrepreneurs in the livestock industry and to celebrate Manitoba agriculture. And turning to some sports, the Neepawa Tigers win Zone 7 Fast Pitch Championship by Owen Devereaux. A few clutch plays in the field helped secure the Zone 7 Fast Pitch Championship for the Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute Tigers on Tuesday, May 24th. Neepawa's varsity girls team held off a late game surge by the Carberry Cougars to claim an 8-2 win in the final. Ryan McLaughlin, who serves as one of the coaches for the team, was quick to point out a pair of defensive plays that were huge for ensuring the win for the Tigers. The first was a sliding catch in the outfield by Ashley Asham in the middle of the game, which kept Carberry from potentially scoring a pair of runs. The second key play was the turning of a double play in the later innings by Madison Robertson and Shelby Glushka. Those were the 2 big plays defensively that deflated Carberry. They were above and beyond routine, stated McLaughlin. After the game, NACI outfielder Ashley Asham told the Banner and Press that her run-saving catch was really just pure instinct out there in the field. She noted that she was glad to be in position and able to secure the ball. Madison Robertson, meanwhile, recounted the double play effort. She said that after she secured the catch for the initial out, she saw that the runner was attempting to advance to third base. Robertson added she was fortunate to get the ball into second in time to make the out. The NACI varsity girls fast pitch team roster, according to the MHSAA website, consists of the following players: Ashley Asham, Kieran Burney, Katie Ray Byram, Paige Chudley, Kira Cramond, Rebecca Ellis, Hannah Funk, Shelby Glushka, Jordan Kidd, Shane Kaharski, Brenna McLaughlin, Peyton McLaughlin, Deborah Morasti Taggart, Claire Nicholson, Jillian Parrott, Christina Polaniuk, Harmony Richard, Madison Robertson, Avery Scott, and Sarah Thompson. The Tigers coaching staff for this season included Ryan McLaughlin, Donna Kibakovich, and Gary Salmon. The Banner and Press apologize in advance for any players, coaches, or other support staff it may have missed. Congratulations to the team on its successful regular season. And by Owen Devereaux, golf courses now open in Neepawa and Minnedosa. It's been a longer wait than many local golfers had been hoping for, but the arrival of the opening days for both the Neepawa and Minnedosa Golf and Country Clubs have finally arrived. For Neepawa, the back nine was open for play on Monday, May 23rd, while the restaurant opened on Wednesday, May 25th. There's currently no set time for the front nine to open, but that will be announced as soon as possible. As for Minnedosa, they also opened up access to the back nine on Monday, May 23rd. Both clubs have dealt with late season snowstorms and unseasonably cold conditions for the spring. Minnedosa has also dealt with some overland flooding related to the recent issues with the Little Saskatchewan River. Listed below are some of the notable tournaments and events scheduled this summer for both courses. The complete listing can be found on the website or in this newspaper. And turning to Carberry, North Cypress, Langford, the Here and There by Gladwin Scott. Warren Birch has accepted the grade 6 position at Carberry Collegiate effective September 1st. Birch, a Carberry Collegiate graduate, lives in town and has taught for 9 years in Brandon. He's quite involved in the local curling and golf clubs and with the Royals. The University of North Dakota College of Arts and Science and the John D. Oglegarde School of Aerospace Sciences has established the Morgan M. V. Burke Memorial Graduate Fellowship Endowment. Dr. Burke received his Master's of Science in 2016 and his PhD in Earth Science in December 2021. He lived in Carberry with his wife, Justine, the Carberry Collegiate Band music teacher, and passed away this spring from brain cancer at the age of 30. Warren Birch, co-chairman, stated that the 6-team Santa Clara Baseball League planned to open Wednesday, May 25th. The Royals travel to Ebb and Flow Friday, May 27th, and their home opener is Wednesday, June 1st at 7 p.m. with the Neepawa clubs as visitors. The Carberry Royals are in Plumas June 3rd and Portage June 8th. Austin is in Carberry June 10th. Year-end field trips for school classes are quite common. The Carberry grade 5 and 6 classes will not soon forget their trip to Winnipeg's Shaw Park Thursday, May 18th. They, along with other school classes, were guests of the Winnipeg Goldeyes for a 10-1 victory over the Sioux Falls Canaries. It was a beautiful sunny day, and each student received a pair of sunglasses from the Goldeyes, said grade 6 teacher Carissa Kirkup. At the May Joint Council meeting in the new Carberry Council Chambers, it was decided to reject High Life Foods' proposal to accept their wastes into the Evergreen Environmental Disposable Unit. They agreed to split a $600 donation for the potato truck pull at the Carberry Fair. The Recreation Department reported that Caitlin Myers would be the 2022 pool supervisor, and Leah Bryant has qualified to teach bronze classes and senior life-saving courses. Grants have been received for roller skates and curling push sticks. Lacrosse is being played in the arena 2 evenings a week. Sweden and Finland, who have 830 miles of border with Russia, have applied for membership with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, better known as NATO. Why is Russia opposed after brutalizing Ukraine since February 24th? Why would Turkey be opposed to new countries joining NATO? Politics and greed. The Royal Bank of Canada branches in Hamiota and Birtle will close on November 17th and November 24th, respectively. They will be merged with the Shoal Lake branch. Fewer clients using teller services at both locations and an increase in online services necessitated the merger. 3 Westman NHL players who are out of the playoffs have joined Team Canada for the World Hockey Championships in Finland, May 13th to the 29th. Morgan Geekie, 23, of Strathclair, plays with the Seattle Kraken. Travis Sanheim, 26, of Elkhorn, is a Philadelphia Flyers defenseman. And Zach Whitecloud, 25, of Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation, plays defense for the Vegas Golden Knights. Gold and bronze medal games are set for May 29th. And also submitted by Gladwin Scott, the community profile in Carberry, Ben Saunderson. Ben Saunderson, who's 17, has just returned home after 2 years with the Saskatoon Blades in the Western Hockey League. He has completed his required credits, several online, and will graduate with many of his classmates Monday, June 27th in Carberry. Ben is a 6'1", 189-pound, left-handed shooting defenseman who is entering his draft year. Currently, he works out daily for 3 hours at the Western Canada Hockey Academy at J&G Holmes Arena in Brandon. He has great respect for his coaches, Brennan Sonnet and Ryan Marsh, and Saunderson said his billets, Rose and Lynn Bricker, are unbelievable. The Blades play in the 18,000-seat SaskTel Place, and Ben plans to return to training camp in late August. He hopes that hockey will take him to the pro ranks. And the Sand Hills Golf Course notes. Under the leadership of Patrick Law, Minnedosa Golf and Country Club head professional and general manager, the Prairie Mountain Golf League commenced on Saturday, May 20th. 8 clubs from Neepawa, Carberry, Glenboro, Dauphin, Gilbert Plains, Glenlee, Oak Island, and Minnedosa will send 4 golfers for the weekly interclub matches. Teams can roster up to 12 golfers who must be club members. Games will be 4 balls, 2-on-2 matches, where only the better score for each team is used. Each match has 3 points up for grabs, 1 for the front 9, 1 for the back 9, and 1 for the overall round. Each club has 4 home and away matches before the championship day at Minnedosa on July 22nd. The benefits are getting extra people on your course and extra competition, stated Law. Derek Samolgalski is the Sand Hills Golf and Country Club superintendent, with Josh McMillan and Luke Robson as groundkeepers. Santana Ginter is in charge of the clubhouse. Matt Lukeman and Tyler Unger are president and vice president. Other board members are Susie Scott, secretary, Brent McMillan, treasurer, Albert Naismith, clubhouse committee chair, Kathy Adrianson, clubhouse committee, Blair Graham, clubhouse committee, Kelly Murray, grounds committee chair, David Manns, ground committee, Greg Chandler, grounds committee, Warren Birch, tournament committee chair, and Mark Bryant, Tournament Committee Junior Development. And the upcoming events are also listed in this newspaper. Happy 50th anniversary to Terry and Barb Carraz. Happy 18th birthday to Amy on May 4th and Shelby on May 20th. Love from your family. In memory of Smitty, June 1st, 1997. Till memory fades and life departs, you live forever in our hearts. Dorothy and family. Congratulations to Erin Cathcart, graduated with honors from Brandon University with her Bachelor of Nursing program, May 27th, 2022, from her family. And on behalf of the family of Valdi Johansson, we wish to express our sincere appreciation to doctors, nurses, and staff at the Neepawa Hospital. Heartfelt thank you to all for being there in our time of need. Diane Johansson and family. And that was Valdemar Theodore Johansson, who passed away on Tuesday, May 24th, 2022, at the age of 84. And reading from the Neepawa Town Council, May 17th, 2022, by Owen Devereaux, Property Assessments to be Explained. Representatives with the Property Assessment Services recently sat down with Neepawa Town Council. The Assessment Board reps, who were only identified at the meeting as Glenn and Anthony, provided some information on the entire process of assessment and the factors that are taken into consideration to determine those results. Assessment Services is responsible for the assessment of all real and personal property in the province. In Manitoba, property is assessed at market value in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. Market value is the most probable selling price of the property, had it been sold by a willing seller to a willing buyer. Regular reassessments ensure that property assessments keep pace with real estate market conditions, and taxes are distributed fairly to property owners. Assessment Services will return to Neepawa to host a public meeting on July 6th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. At this event, they'll sit down with individual property owners and answer any questions they may have on their assessments. Neepawa residents are reminded that if they have any questions on their property assessments they'll soon be receiving in the mail, they are to contact Property Assessment Services as opposed to the town, as property assessment is responsible for those results. Councillor reports. Jason Nadeau recently attended, along with Mayor Blake McCutcheon, the Rossburn Trail Association's annual general meeting. In the meeting, the Trail Association expressed its accolades towards the trail improvements efforts that have been ongoing in and around Neepawa over the past year. The association also stated that it would soon be sending a memorandum of understanding to all participating councils to outline the rules and expenditures are in place for each community's portion of the trail. Marenka Kostenchuk provided an update on the most recent Neepawa Handyvan board meeting. She noted that ridership for the program has increased as of late and that some maintenance was recently done on the van. The program's AGM has been set for June 22nd, while a fundraising dinner that had been planned for the spring has been rescheduled for the fall. The exact date for that event will be announced at a later time. Murray Parrott noted that he has been spending some time as of late assisting with sandbagging in Minnedosa. He stated that it has been great to see the amount of representation from Neepawa and nearby communities coming out to assist Minnedosa in any way they can during this time of crisis related to the Little Saskatchewan River. He stated this would be a good time for Neepawa area representatives to examine localized upstream issues and water management. The Manager of Operations report. Denise Akay notified Council that some members of the park's seasonal staff were sent to Minnedosa on Tuesday, May 17th, to assist with sandbagging. He also reminded residents of Neepawa of the water advisory being put in place on Friday, May 20th, and the importance of abstaining from any and all unnecessary water use. Patience is also being requested from town residents in relation to road patience, as the recent less than ideal weather has made that work difficult to advance upon. Road maintenance, that should say. And in miscellaneous, a request for funding support for the Filipino Heritage Committee's upcoming Heritage Month celebration was approved. A similar event held prior to 2020 was very well received locally. Council approved supporting them as a sponsor in the amount of $2,000. The event is scheduled for June 18th at the Lions Riverbend Park. Everyone is invited to attend. The town formally requested support from the Manitoba Water Services Board on project management for Phase 2 of its wastewater treatment system upgrades and expansion. Authorization has been given to Chad Campbell and Jake Birch, granting permission to discharge firearms within town limits for the destruction of nuisance birds and vermin. Approval has been given for the purchase of a new John Deere riding mower for the town of Neepawa for a net trade-in value of $10,284 plus applicable taxes. Clearing the way on the Rosedale Trail. A group of volunteers recently decided to assist with clearing the path along the Rosedale Farm Trail. The late season storm in April included an ice storm which broke hundreds of trees. The trees have obliterated the trail in many sections. Thanks to John and Muriel for all the chainsaw work to cut the trees into manageable sections. Now the trail is being worked on by volunteers, including youngsters aged 6 to 10 who are helping out with the clearing work. Hopefully the trail will be fully usable again soon. And submitted by the Manitoba Pork, Good People Raising Healthy Pigs. Hog farmers care for their animals 365 days a year. Maintaining pig health is a farmer's pride and passion. After all, raising pigs is not just a job, it's a way of life that will support the family and farmers for many years. Producing the highest quality pork requires a great deal of care. Without a healthy pig, a farmer has nothing. Farmers follow standards of care related to the handling, feeding, housing, and transportation of pigs. These standards include the Code of Practice for the Care and Handling of Pigs, the Animal Care Act, and the Health of Animals regulations. The 105 Code of Practice, requirements, and all the other regulations provide comprehensive standards that support optimal farm care. The care that hog farmers across our province take in raising pigs is evident by the global demand for Manitoba pork, and I am very proud to be part of this industry, said Rick Pridgett, Manitoba hog farmer. And on the back page, High Life. Let us show you how much we care. In April 2022, High Life officially announced our We Care program in Neepawa. Our We Care team consists of a caring group of High Life ambassadors who are committed to helping our employees. We care by listening to our employees, supporting our High Life culture, and positively impacting the communities where we work and play. The We Care team was initially launched at our plant in Wisdom, Minnesota during the summer of 2021. The Neepawa launch included a celebration spread across 3 days. Balloons, giveaways, and awareness-building conversations were a big part of this special introduction. Our We Care ambassadors have wasted no time. They are already getting ready to attend the Neepawa Fair this upcoming weekend and can't wait to connect with the community there. Lindsay Hextall, Neepawa's Director of Human Resources, is leading the group and is an advocate for the Unique to High Life program. I really want every employee that comes to High Life to have a great experience. You spend most of your life at work, so let's make it the best possible time you can have, shares Hextall. We want to be a sounding board for people to come to tell us things we need to do better, because we want to continue to improve, and the We Care team is all about that. I'm excited that it's in Neepawa. And by Addie Oberlin, entitled Observation. Just reading a paper from Swan River, and I am surprised the sea of pictures of the crumpled pieces of highways. I've never seen it that bad in this area. The only thing I remember is that our neighbor and his wife came to church one Sunday in their tractor because a low piece of road had flooded. It is sad to see in some places to only see water. Their fields are flooded. Such a depressing sight. When I was talking to my neighbors, we wondered how the farmers could survive if they did not trust God to be with them and have His loving arms around and carry them through. David talks a lot in the Bible about trusting in God. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. Trust and obey, for there's no other way. And that's by Addie Oberlin. And that is the Neepawa Banner and Press for May 27th, 2022. I hope you enjoyed it.